Hey everyone, it's Hannah Shuttleweather with Meadow Blossom Goods. Again, I am going to just give you a brief little overview of the starch powders that just got released, kind of what the differences are and what makes each one different. So far we have 6, and that will be expanding. I have a couple of different recipes in the works. I just got to figure out ingredients and where to get them and that kind of stuff. So we're gonna flip the camera around so I can walk you through what each of these starches is and any details I can give you.
So here are all the starches. We have 6 total. They're kind of broken down into groups of 3 with a regular version and a gloss version. The regulars are in the front and the glosses are in the back. We are going to start out with the Blossom starch. This is like the most common, I guess you would say. It's potato based, which would have been the easiest for any wife during the 19th century, 18th century, 17th century, what have you, to make in their own home, because it's the easiest to extract the actual starch from the food that you would have readily available in your house. Our gloss version uses salt, which is also something that's going to be fairly easy to come by for our regular mothers and housewives in the days gone before us to use. The point of adding something that makes it the gloss starch is it's going to make it a little bit easier to iron out. It's going to help the iron glide a little better. And it's also going to help with your water quality a little bit because we know that they were working with some kind of poor water conditions and they didn't have softeners and stuff like we do today. So all of these little additives in the gloss versions are going to help with that water quality and keeping your whites white and that sort of thing. You can add bluing to your starch. It is a thing that a lot of women commonly did, kind of delete a step in the middle by adding the bluing right to the starch. Especially for petticoats, shirt fronts, and that sort of thing. Eventually I'd like to do some tinted starches with bluing already in them, but I haven't gotten that far yet, so that's on my to-do list. So the Blossom starch is going to be your most common, like in quotes, type of starch. The potato starch isn't the greatest quality. It wouldn't be the first pick of any laundress anywhere. But it is easy to come by and it does give a decent finish. Not anything like a wheat starch or anything like that, but your Blossom starch is kind of a blend of starches, so it is going to be a step above just plain potato starch. So then we have our 1902 Best Starch and Gloss Best Starch. These are the stiffest starch that we have. So they're really, really good for collars, cuffs, shirt fronts, stuff that you want to give a good stiff finish to. So your best starch is going, it's kind of a cornstarch base, which isn't anybody's favorite in the 19th century or before that because it gives like too stiff of a finish. The molecules in cornstarch are pretty big. And they're going to be very, what's the word I'm looking for? It takes a bit to break them down. Gives you such a stiff finish that it almost has a papery texture, which wasn't really what they were going for. They wanted stiff, they wanted crisp, but they didn't want papery, and they didn't want it to be like crunchy per se. So the best starch is a blend of starches that kind of bring it down from that corn base, but it is going to give you a nice stiff finish. The gloss is borax and alum. Again, this is mostly for water quality and to help your iron glide. Then we have our European starch and our Fairy Glaze, and these are the only 2 I have that don't have like matchy labels. So the European starch is a rice base, which is super popular in Europe, obviously. Laundresses over there have been using rice starch for a long time, but in the US, the rice starch wasn't as easy to obtain. So we're gonna stick more with kind of the other starches for the most part. By the end of the 19th century, they were using a lot more of this rice starch in their laundry as it was gaining popularity and getting easier to find. Our gloss version here is our Fairy Glaze, and it uses just straight up alum as its kind of gloss agent.
I have run into the use of alum for prints time and time and time and time again. So Fairy Glaze is kind of an educated concoction that I've put together, and it uses the rice starch base with some alum, and it's going to be best for all of your calicos and prints and things like that, which is really going to help bring out some of the colors and make it a little prettier to look at. Our rice starches here, rice is pretty small on a molecular level, so it's going to make it really easy to do cold starches, which we'll be touching on that a little bit in the future as well. So these are all of our starches as of now, packaged in our cool little tins here. We can take a little look at one of them here. So the front has a cute label there, and then the back has kind of some brief instructions on how to do all of that. We'll be coming out with some videos on that topic in the future as well. And then inside, it is packaged in a bag, so that should make it a little bit easier to handle. So basic, stiff, fine. In a nutshell, those are all of the glazes and starches that we have going right now at Meadow Blossom Goods. So check the Etsy shop at www.meadowblossomgoods.etsy.com, and be sure to check back for more videos and fun stuff. Have a wonderful day.